Welcome to the journey. I am Kevin Polky, and today our topic is going to be about the idea or the concept of being the hero of your own story. I remember when I was a young person, young boy, reading stories about probably initially it was about football players going to the library at the church that we attended and seeing books that were age appropriate, second, third grade or whatever it may have been, that were stories about individuals at that time who were famous football players. Um, Later, when we moved and we went to a larger library, North Suburban Library, I remember then reading stories about war heroes, Native American war heroes, and heroes from the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, as well as World War One and World War Two. And it seemed like there was these things that was invoked within me as I read about these particular, mostly men, but these particular men and what they overcame, what they did to be heroes. I remember watching Rocky One at the drive-in theater and the training scene, as well as the final fight. Uh, Also made a big impression on me. Earlier, when I was probably in fourth grade, I think it was, my aunt, my dad's sister, had gotten me some plastic weights. And of course, not knowing anything about what to do with these weights, um, there was a booklet in there, and there was an individual, didn't know his name at the time. Later, I found out that his name was Reg Park, and he has this huge chest and huge arms, and that also had a lasting impression on me of what I wanted to be able to do. All these stories, images, stories either on film or stories in books, all these things had laid a foundation for me um, that I didn't know at the time, but later um, laid this foundation of that I wanted to be something more than ordinary, that I wanted my life to be something more than just going through the motions. And of course, not knowing what that possibly could be, um, and not really thinking beyond most immediate. I think the thing that appeared to me, maybe it's because my dad had told stories of him playing football in high school, and he was all state for his high school, and then later went on and played Division One football for Iowa State University. Maybe that's where it first came regarding sports. Maybe because I had some early on successes with football, maybe that also um, came with that as well. And then there's this time period when preparing for my seventh grade football season on a seventh and eighth grade football team, the first year I could play sports for the school I attended, training that summer, remembering what I saw years earlier at the Rocky movie, the training scene in the Rocky movie, I prepared for the football season. And that summer was one of the first times that I noticed a transformational result of putting in um, daily workouts, not only with the weights that I had at home, but then also running. So, this idea of being a hero. Well, of course, at that time, I didn't think of myself or anyone that I knew personally as being a hero. Those were all individuals that were on the screen or in the movies. But this particular conversation I want to have is about how that we all have the opportunity to be our own hero. And this idea that if we um, take our own lead in our own lives that we can be the hero of our own story. So, what are some characteristics of a hero? So, when we think of heroes, maybe in books or on the screen, what are some of those things that they have? Well, they have a desire to accomplish something extraordinary. They take risks and face potential loss to accomplish this extraordinary endeavor. They have to be courageous to be able to take on some of the hardships or some of the people or some of the things that are standing in the way. That their overall mission, though, may initially be for them, somehow also gives back to others. And at least we hope that our hero on the screen or in the story will have a heart that's humble. Even though in stories the hero is someone who's doing something extraordinary, I think of in our lives us taking charge of our own life, not just leaving it up to chance, is the opportunity for us to be the hero of our own life and our own path and journey. The template of the hero's journey was originally founded by Joseph Campbell and has now been reworded using Campbell's originally work many, many different times. Almost all great stories follow the same sequence of events. It's the same, th- largely three aspects of our hero or heroine as they face the journey. They start off in ordinary or normal. And that ordinary normal, that they've been there for a time period and they either grow restless and need to break out or they seek something more. Or maybe they've been there for too long and something is calling them out of that or pushing them out of it. Many times there's a refusal to that call after initially entertaining it because of fear of coming out of our comfort zone, fear of failure typically. And so then we may initially, after being intrigued by something different, we refuse it because of that fear. But something, if it is the call, will pull us into that, and we will accept that and cross over into the next phase. Prior to that, when we're contemplating if we should accept this, there is usually a gatekeeper or a critic or someone in our space that is causing us to maybe doubt ourselves to going and taking on this aspect of an adventure, or encouraging us to stay in the order or stay where it's safe and where it's familiar. This is where we also may need courage to step out of our comfort zone, what is familiar, what is our ordinary, and go into this next piece of the adventure, which is the phase two part or the initiation or the dark night of our soul. Sometimes we don't have a choice, such as this year with the COVID pandemic um, affecting all of us. In the dark night of the soul is where our hero has to face challenges, and those challenges are always challenges within themselves. That the characters that come up during this time period are individuals that are revealing some of our insecurities, our fears, our unaddressed issues that may be going on that now are time for us, or an opportunity for us to face them. And with courageous, we find out that we may have more than we thought we had. Once those, as we would say, dragons or villains are faced and we take battle to them, and we face those things again, knowing that it's primarily um, the fear that we have within ourselves or the doubt that we have within ourselves. Um, the gifts that we learn from that is going into the third phase, which is the reorder or the rebirth or the coming home time period. One of the things that we need to take in consideration is that to be the hero of your story, is making a decision of where is my control. There's a psychological theory called locus of control. And where do I believe my locus of control resides? Do I believe that it resides within me, or do I believe that it resides outside of myself? In other words, if I have external locus of control, I believe the things that go well in my life and the things that go poorly in my life are external factors, that I don't have any real control over those things, that it's is just what happens. It's just by chance or by luck that these things happen. And that many times a person feels powerless over the different variety of things that continually happen. You'll hear someone refer to the idea that, well, bad things happen within threes, or some other aspect of trying to describe this in what may appear to be in a superstitious way. Internal locus of control is, in contrast, obviously completely different. It is where we believe internally that within us we have the control of maybe not what is happening, but our response to that. Maybe that we don't have control of what's happening with the weather, but we do have control of what we're going to wear, the attitude that we're going to have about it. And so it's this idea of switching from external locus of control and moving more toward internal locus of control. In other words, accepting what I can't control and understanding what I can control and then taking action there. So, what are some steps to being the hero of your own story? Well, first, identify something that you desire, a goal, something that you want. That we start there with something that you want. I would always encourage you for it to be a life-giving desire. What's a life-giving goal that you may have? It may be, for me, it was to do well in football, to become a starter, or to start a business, or to go back to school, or to switch careers or a job. Develop a plan of actionable steps in which to make this goal or this dream or this desire to come to light, making sure that you discipline yourself to follow that strategy. I didn't necessarily know what I was doing when I did that workout program, but I did know that I would more likely get stronger if I stuck to the plan that was laid out for that than if I only did it once a week. So the idea was is that whatever the workout was at that particular time, I followed it how it was written down. The idea that choose to do hard things, choose to um, that there's something that happens within us that we set our alarm for 30 minutes earlier than we normally wake up, or that we, even though we don't feel like making our bed, that we make our bed, that even though we don't feel like studying right now or putting in extra time regarding that study piece, that choosing to do those hard things will allow us to feel stronger about ourselves. Learn um, that there will be setbacks and give yourself permission to learn from them, recognizing that even though you have the sting of that setback, and it challenges or rattles your ego, that it is something to learn from. It's already happened. You can't do anything about that aspect of it. But make sure that you learn from the setback. Make sure that you ask for help. No one can do this alone. There's always helpers, or there's always a guide that comes along on the hero's journey, making sure that we're open to that and reaching out to different individuals, and also being open to the idea that that helper or that mentor or sponsor may come in a space or a form that you normally may not think so. And that the idea that along this path and journey that you have a heart to be able to help others. So make sure that you visualize a goal that you have, something that you desire, a dream to have. And the bigger, the scarier it would be, but the bigger it is, the more exciting that the trip will be. Develop a plan to take those steps, do hard things, discipline yourself to do those hard things and follow your plan to accomplish your goal. Learn from the setbacks when they occur, ask for help along the way, and be open to helping others who also are on their journey as well. Recognize and don't be surprised when the setbacks happen. Recognize that just because someone has a critic in their life or a naysayer about your journey does not mean you're on the wrong path. It means that it probably has more to do with them and you are stretching them out of their comfort zone as you are walking on your journey. These steps of being able to be the hero of your story, of moving away from external locus control and moving toward internal locus control is another way of you taking control of your life and not allowing yourself to be a victim of circumstances. And when things happen, you develop that plan to persevere and continue to accomplish um, things that you wanted. We all can be the hero of our own story. True, we may not necessarily be on TV or have a movie produced for us or a book written about us. But more importantly, you can be a hero in your story and a hero in your own family within your own neighborhood. A hero is not about always the place that they finish at the end. It's about that when they get knocked down, they refuse to stay down and they get back up. Once again, thank you for being with me on um, our show, The Journey. And um, I look forward to being with you again, sharing different aspects of the journey as well as sharing other individuals' transformational stories.